what's up, guys? It's Sab here again with another episode of Suffering of Silence. Today we are not doing a video episode, but I do have a guest. Feel free to introduce yourself, guest.
Hello, everyone. I'm the guest. My name is Jesucita. I feel like this is so, professional. I'm not that professional, guys.
Only the introduction is, professional, but I think, anything else, we'll keep it super casual. So I've been so excited to actually do this episode with you because we've been talking about it for a while. But not only just that, but because you're literally one of my only friends that...
Her only friends, period.
You're one of my only friends who actually is in a very similar place as me in life. We're exactly, the same age. We both have, we own our own homes, and we both are essentially no other responsibility besides us. And not that it's a bad thing.
True.
And our dogs.
Also, I was gonna say also our children.
Yes.
Don't forget your children.
Yes. And not that it's a bad thing, but yeah, we are very single, we're just kind of living our lives and trying to settle into things and figure it out as we go. And I feel like a lot of the people that especially because we've known each other for a long time, of course. Mm-hmm. And I feel like over the years, a lot of people that we know have essentially gone off and settled into a life with a significant other. They live very they're married, well, some aren't married, but they live this traditional life, and we chose something much more non-traditional, which is not a bad thing at all. I think it's we watch it on the internet, we see a lot of women like us, but then in our actual, where we live and where we're from, there's not a lot of people like that. And
I agree.
I'm just happy to have reconnected, because this is our friendship is exactly what I've needed in my life. So
I love that. That makes me feel so good. But it's true. I mean, I do appreciate your friendship too. I didn't even think that we were gonna reconnect again. It just happened so random.
Yeah.
Because you fell off the face of the earth and I was just doing my own thing. And then one day we reconnected and we're like, yeah, let's go get some food. And then spilled all the tea and caught up. And here we are making a podcast.
Exactly. And I think it's crazy that I don't even feel so much time has passed between us, but it's so much has happened, but at the same time, so much hasn't. I still feel it's still something that it still feels like those years have just been kind of a blur. But I think in general, obviously I just completely fell off the face of the earth for years, and then now I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back, honestly. And obviously you weren't one of the only people that I had reconnected with I definitely have spoken to a lot of people from high school and stuff, but it was never the same. I feel a lot of people from high school, they have kids, no offense to them, but lifestyles just don't really align.
Also, a lot of people from high school are still out here partying. So it's one or the other. It's they're either married, kids, have their life together, or they're still acting like teenagers and going out partying every weekend. Really not settling down, just kind of having fun, no care in the world, no responsibilities.
Yeah. And, I feel I do that too. So I don't, I feel I do go out often. I go out probably more than I should. But at the same time, I didn't really get that out of my system, in my 20s. Mm. So I feel I'm kind of just living that out now.
Yes. And that makes sense for you.
Yeah.
Because you were in your relationships at that time. And you didn't really give yourself that time to explore and venture out by yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, I occasionally would, but now it's kind of have so much more freedom to just not be afraid to do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. And it feels good. But at the same time, it's very, obviously it's boring. You go out, it's the same thing. It's the same people, the same places. And I'm surrounded with the people that are age, it's the same people. And then when I go out to other places, it's all young people, and I'm
oh yeah,
I'm too old for this.
For sure. I don't go out that often, but I do like to go out and dance every once in a while. And it's the same. It depends on where I go to. Because I know one of my friends had invited me to Snifters one night. Have you been to Snifters?
Never heard of it.
It's full of babies. Ooh. Literally just all babies. All youngins, freshly 21. And I mean, it was still a good time though, because I went with my friends and we danced and we had a good time. But yeah, it was a bunch of babies. But they probably thought I was a baby too, because I looked pretty young.
I know. And I think that's what sucks is like we look so young for our age. And then it's like, dang, why can't I just like meet people my age? Come on. Like it's so.
We just blend in with the little babies.
Yeah. But I guess I'm used to it by now because we've always had like the youthful look to us. We've always looked much younger than our actual age.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's true. I think I look half of my age.
Yeah. I get carded
I
so
look like
often.
I'm 15. I'm not 30 yet, though.
I would totally card both of you.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
This is our special guest.
Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Our, what are they called?
A surprise guest? I don't know.
No, what did you just say? You were like some kind of producer?
Producer?
Yeah.
Director?
She's our executive producer.
Yeah, just lingering.
Making sure everything
Sounds good.
exactly.
So I do have some topics that I wrote down earlier. We don't have to go through all of them. These were just some ideas and just some stuff like I was scrolling through as well on the internet. So yeah, I mean, I guess should we
Let me start with this one that you have here.
Go for
It
it.
says, would you ever date someone who doesn't own a home? Which, when I read that, I was a little surprised that you wrote that. So now that made me want to ask you that.
Yeah.
Because me personally, I would. I mean, I don't really care. Like, I just feel like this was just one of my goals. We don't have to have the same goals. As long as you have certain goals and you're not just, fucking around or living at home and not doing anything with your life.
Right.
But yeah, if I met a guy that doesn't have a house, that doesn't own a home, because I mean, not everyone wants to buy a house either. So I would. I don't think that's an issue for me.
For sure. For me, obviously. Someone owning a home is definitely not a deal. Like, not because I know like we kind of did this at a very young age and in a very unconventional way. We didn't wait to be married and like that's how people typically buy houses.
Which I get it too because it's way easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm lucky and grateful enough that I have my mom to have purchased to co-purchase the home with.
Mm-hmm.
But I mostly purchased my home for my family. Like we needed it and I just didn't want to see us living where we were living. And it was also like a huge situation with like trying to escape essentially from being in the grasp of like my abuser because he would always follow me there. So this kind of all just worked out in a really good way in some way, but at the same time, like I say this often, like I didn't really want to buy a house. Like that's not really something that was on my list to do. But now that it's happened, like I did it because like regardless, I'm gonna always be there for my family. So that's why I'm fine with it. So I would never judge someone for not wanting to own a home or not owning a home if I were to date them. But yeah, definitely you need to have some aspirations outside of that. Like I need to know that you're not going to have me just out here in the street forever. Like, and also, one thing I hate to be that person, but I feel like I do sort of judge people based off of how they upkeep their house too. Like, even if you don't own it, like, cause I know we always think about men and they're like gross and disgusting.
Actually, I feel like a lot of more men than women I feel like men are more cleaner than women.
Some capacity.
At least the few friends that I've had, like if I go to their house, I feel like girls are more messy, maybe like in their bedroom where they leave clothes lying out.
Yeah, that's true.
But I've been actually really surprised when I go into a man's house and it's like all clean, like and organized too. Like I'm not that organized, honestly. I'm not even gonna lie.
Not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. But I don't know, it's like refreshing to see that, and then especially if they live on their own and because a lot of men kind of just
they're sloppy.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't say anything because like my house is like, oh my God, our house is like jam-packed with stuff because it's a family home. Like it's not just my house, which is why I don't always like to have people over because it's me and my family, and there's a lot of us. So there's always people moving in and out. And that was the whole point of having this house. But at the same time, like I have a mess of my own because I'm never really home. I work a lot or I'm busy like with my dogs or whatever the case is. So yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily judge people too harshly, but it's like when you see certain things, like, how they say when you look at the back of somebody's toilet, that's how you know if they're nasty or not. That's basically that's just how I feel.
Yes, I have heard that.
So yeah, I guess.
So when you went in my bathroom today, did you work behind the toilet?
I was too busy with the fact that I clogged it.
I was just gonna say, were you preoccupied with?
I was totally preoccupied with clogging it. I didn't get a chance to judge you. I had to judge myself in that moment.
Oh God, you are funny.
So yeah, that's how I love that we're both open to that for sure. And I actually have a friend who we went to elementary and middle school together, and like we kind of still kept up with each other until my Facebook got deleted. But she bought her first home when she was in her early 20s. She had her son when she was, I think, like in high school still.
Oh.
And then she ended up like making a really good investment in like purchasing homes and like investment properties, and she has really set herself up to like truly succeed. Like she's like the epitome of like, I'm gonna persevere through this teenage pregnancy thing, so I really love that for her.
Yeah.
And like seeing that also really inspired me to like, damn, maybe I should just buy a house like for my family. And I originally wanted like an investment property, like I was gonna get a duplex and then stay there for a year and then start moving around. Because I honestly don't mind living in an apartment. Like if I were to leave my house and like live in an apartment, I would have no issue with that.
I've never lived. I'm lying. I guess I did live in a townhome that is an apartment, but not on my own. And I've always wanted to. Like I've always wanted to have my own little apartment.
Interesting.
But I've never.
That's really interesting. That's actually a really good thing to bring up because like I was lucky enough and privileged enough that like in my life my parents owned a lot of homes. So most of like my 20s I did get the chance to like live in one of the properties that we owned. But there was a couple times where I've signed a lease and like lived in an apartment on my own before. And the one time I like got a place of my own, like I was probably the happiest. And I always I always reference a lot of that in how I live now because that was one of the happiest times in my life. And then I kind of messed that up with getting in that abusive relationship, but
it's life. You live and you learn.
But it was such an amazing feeling, and I feel like everyone at some point should always experience that, even if it's just a short period of time, like living absolutely on your own if you have the privilege enough to like afford that lifestyle. No roommates, nothing, because it's just some sense of freedom.
Yeah.
That you can never get back once you start to settle into life.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever lived alone. Well, I guess, so before me purchasing my home,
yeah,
I lived upstairs from my mom. Mm-hmm. So it was like kind of like I was alone because it's a duplex, right? It was a upstairs unit and a downstairs. So it was kind of like I was alone with my son.
Yeah.
Leo, he's my dog, by the way. But then not really because my family was right there.
Yeah.
Like I would just go downstairs and hang out with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've never had that like where it's just me by myself. Because even the first time I left my house, I went to Madison and I had like 5 roommates. And then I came back and I lived with my parents. And then when I left the house after that, it was with my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then after that, I had a roommate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had my sister as my roommate. And then she left, but I was still in the same house with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then even now I have a roommate. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm also a very paranoid person too, so I feel like I probably wouldn't live on my own just because of how I am.
And it's not for everyone. It's definitely not for everyone. Like, you definitely need to have like a certain, like if you go in scared, like you're obviously not going to be happy doing it at all. But I knew that like it was just something I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a pretty bad situation at the time too. Like I was kind of bouncing between like my sister's couch and like my parents' house. And I'm like, I gotta just get my own place and like get myself together because I no longer want to rely on like knowing whether I'm gonna be with someone and like living with them or living at home. So I'm like, I can afford to live on my own. And I've always like worked a lot. So at that time, like I was working I was working first shift, but I was working like 16, 20-hour days because I was a supervisor. Mm-hmm. So whenever anyone got called in, I would have to be there. Mm-hmm. And me living very close by, it also helps as well. But yeah, I definitely loved it. I'm a very social person in general. Mm-hmm. So like my friends were always coming over, like they can just come over whenever they wanted. And like, I also lived in a pretty prime location, like right off of Brady Street. So, like,
Oh.
everything we would want is just, like, right there.
Mhm.
But I never wanted to leave the house because, like, I mean, it's my own house. Shoot. Y'all can
Right.
come over if you want.
That's me now.
Yeah. I think if I had lesser people in my house, like, I'd be more than happy for people to come over. It's just not the same. But also I have to be very considerate of, like, I don't want just anyone knowing where I live because this is my home.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I had that issue with one of my roommates where she would just invite they weren't random to her, but they were random to me.
Yeah.
And she just wasn't considerate, I guess. And I'm like you, where I don't like just anyone knowing where I live. So if I were to meet a guy and we go on a date or something, it's like, okay, well, I'll meet you there or whatever. Because you never know. You know, you don't know a person fully. And so the fact that she would just always bring random people into the house, and I'm like, it just didn't sit well with me. I didn't like it at all. And that's another reason why I didn't like having a roommate. But to be fair, she was the only roommate that I really didn't like having. Because I've had roommates before.
Yeah.
You know, like when I lived in Madison, even with having like 5 roommates, we all still knew how to, what's the word?
Like, be cohesive and
Yeah, just like live together
And that's a lot of personalities to mix.
a lot. But we all had like a mutual understanding where it's like, okay, we don't want to live in a messy home. Like we all were pretty grown up about things, you know, like we had a chore chart where it's like, so it was like 6 of us, right? So every week, every Sunday, 2 of us would be cleaning the house.
Yeah.
So I liked living in Madison. I honestly miss living there. There's just one roommate that I didn't like, but that's a different story.
The only, like, roommate situation I've ever been in, like, kind of, I put in air quotes so heavily. So when I was, like, 18, 19, when I was dating someone, he had actually moved in with, like, his best friend, and I somehow got his best friend to hook up with my friend at the time. And I don't even want to speak badly on her, but we are no longer friends because of the situation. But yeah, so that was the only roommate incident that I really had. And it was more of like, it's not even my place, it's his place with his best friend. And we were just there because we're their girlfriends. And like, we were friends. And I thought that, you know, we could amicably talk about things, but she'd just do like really shady stuff. And I guess we scratched one of our pots when we were like cooking or washing the dishes or something. And like, we also worked very far from home. And so we were gone pretty much all day and night. So when we come home, we don't always have the time or the energy to like clean up. So I get it. Like we weren't always picking up our slack of the chores, but we tried to the best we could. And also it was just more of like the parking thing that like set me off because they had a nice townhouse, right? They had a garage and then a parking spot assigned to us right in front of the garage. We have 3 cars. One of them does not work, so it sits in the garage. And so the deal is like we have free spaces in the lot. Whoever gets home first needs to just park in a free spot, like one of those open spots. And then whoever gets home last can just park right behind the garage. That way we're all guaranteed a spot instead of paying for street parking. And they would obviously get home before us all the time, and they would never save us a spot. And I'm like, if you really want the spot behind the garage, like that's not the problem. Just leave your keys. We'll move your car for you. Just save us a spot. That's literally all. And she would never do it. And it would frustrate the hell out of me. And I would end up having to park on the street and we'd get tickets and just all types of stuff. And that was just the start of it.
The whole being inconsiderate.
Yes. And that was just the start of it. They literally put a lock on our TV because they were upset that like my ex was like he would play video games a lot and he would be pretty loud on the game.
What do you mean put a lock on the TV? You can do that?
Yeah, and like they took our remote. So like we couldn't control the volume.
You were grounded.
We were grounded. They were our parents. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. Honestly though, I felt like it was really just because we played a game of bowling to like decide who gets the bigger room with the patio.
And y'all won.
We won by 1 point. And it's funny because I'm not athletic at all. It's so funny. But yeah, I feel like it all started there, okay? Like it all started with the bowling game.
With the bowling game.
But yeah.
Here's your sign to not go bowling.
Here's your sign to not go bowling. Here's your sign to not move in with just friends, okay? Like unless you know you can really make it work, don't move in with them.
Yeah, I learned my lesson too the hard way with that one girl.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because me and her were best friends in middle school. And then in high school, we kind of drifted apart because we went to different high schools. We still had each other on like social media and whatnot, but it was different. We weren't as close anymore. And after my breakup, she was going through a breakup as well. And that's how we rekindled our friendship. Yeah. And then we would go to the gym together, and then we both needed a place to stay. So we were like, let's just be roommates and blah, blah, blah. And not even knowing how she was. Like, I knew how she was as a kid, you know, but I didn't know her as an adult. So it just blew my mind how different she was as an adult.
I'm so scared. I'm so scared of that.
Not that I'm saying it didn't like traumatize me to the point where it's like, I don't want to live with anyone ever again. Mm-hmm. It's just, I need to be careful with who it is I'm going to be living with.
Right.
You know, I need to make sure that I know who they are and how they are.
Right.
So like even with her, I didn't see any issues with it, you know, because I'm like, well, I know how she is. I know she's a genuine person, you know, like she's not going to do me dirty or anything. And she hasn't.
And I mean, yeah, like, and like for me, like living with family, like that's totally different. But also I have my own space downstairs because like our basement's completely finished. Oh, okay. I basically have an entire apartment down there. Kitchen, bathroom, all of that's down there. So I don't technically have to share spaces with them, but I can't live with my mom. Yeah, my mom and I, we were not getting along the first year that we bought the house. Like we didn't talk for months and months. Like it was really bad. It was really, really bad. And now like we're better. Dang. And also I have a buffer because like my sister's there now. So I like that, but I still don't want to be there, obviously. But I think the closest thing, like the recent situation I had that was like similar to having a roommate was like when I went to Portugal, because I went with like a tour group, and because it was a tour group, we had to bunk with some people. But obviously like we got our own beds and whatever, but they were all strangers because I didn't know anyone in this group before I went. And it was actually a really good experience. Like the roommate I got, we like immediately set boundaries. Like I think this is also because like I'm becoming a healthier person mentally. But, you know, right away I was like, hey, like, you know, like I'm obviously a very nice person and I'm glad that she was too. And we were like, I was like, I just want to make sure, like, are you a morning shower or a night shower? And like we talk about like how we sleep and that's like good. How we like what we're planning to do so that we're not waking each other up. Or she didn't really go out. I did. So I told her like the nights that I am going out or I'm going to be out, I told her like, I'm just going to set my stuff out so that I don't have to disrupt you when I get in and I'm just in and out the shower. So, you know, it's much easier. And it works so well because she is a morning shower and I'm a night shower. And then she also, she told me up front, she's like, I kind of snore, so I'm so sorry. I was like, you're fine. I was like, literally, my dad my dad used to snore so badly. I could hear him upstairs and they were like downstairs from me. Oh. So I'm like so used to it. And I was like, I snore too, so you're good. So it works so like just super, super well. Like I usually like to spread my stuff out when I travel. Like I leave a mess, okay? Like I like to leave a mess because I bring so much stuff or like I'm always go when I'm traveling. So I felt super bad because she's all tidy in her area and I'm like, I'm so sorry, girl. I got 2 suitcases. I got all this stuff and I'm like, I'm trying to keep it tidy as much as but you know, like I'm a considerate person, obviously. It works so well for us and I'm so glad. We ended up, you know, staying friends after. And we would sit like at night, we'd sit there and like we'd be in bed and we'd be talking about like how our day was and just like honestly shitting on some of the people on the group. Some of them were just too much. There was this guy that was like, I guess so our tour guide was talking about how she's in the middle of a bed where she only liquids, like she's not eating food, she's on a liquid diet. So like she eats soups and smoothies and stuff like that. And she was explaining the reason she was doing it is because she's betting with a person, like if I can get through this whole week on just a liquid diet, you have to stop biting me because this person likes to bite her out of cuteness aggression.
What?
Yeah, I know, so weird. But it's cute. It's cute because like I get cuteness aggression so badly. Like I squeeze the hell out of my dog.
Girl, them poor babies. They're so little.
I bite them too. They're just so cute sometimes. I get cuteness aggression. It's so bad. So she was just saying, she's like, because she's trying to figure out like what the phrase is in English, because obviously they speak Portuguese. And so she couldn't translate the phrase in her mind. And so she's like, what do you call it? Like it's like a group of them in the lobby. And she's like, what do you call it when you just like love someone so much you just want to fight them or something? And he's like, choking? And we're like, no, this lizard did not just say choking. Ew.
Freaky ass.
Freaky ass. So yeah, that was super funny. Like we would sit there and talk shit about people, like how they would say dumb stuff like that. It was just so funny.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Made new friends.
Yeah, that was such a life-changing trip. And
yeah, I love that you're always traveling.
Oh, it's
and meeting new people. Like as much as I don't like people, I don't know. I feel like I am a people person.
I think you are.
But sometimes I just don't have the energy. So maybe it's not that I don't like people. It's just I don't have the energy for people most times. But I do like meeting new people. I like learning about new people. I like, bonding with people. And because we were having this conversation about how not all of our friends have the same interests as us. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason why I like meeting new people is because I like to find people that like doing certain things that I like doing.
Yeah.
And then we'll just go out and do it. And then I don't have to force my friends to go with me.
Right.
Not that I don't think she doesn't mind doing things that I like doing, but I don't know, it's just different because I want both of us to be having a good time and
exactly.
in it 100%,
Like with the pool game, I'm like, I don't like pool, but I'll go for you.
Yeah. So I recently just got a promotion at work, and so I'm like, I want to play pool to celebrate. Thank you. Because I like playing pool. I'm not the greatest, right?
Yes, she's good.
But I enjoy it. I feel like I'm good at everything I do. I'm not like great at like one thing, Yeah. I'm kind of like one of those.
I think it's like
good at a lot of things.
I think the quote is something like expert at many things but master at none. And I feel like I'm the same way.
Yeah. So except bowling. I suck at bowling. I hate it. I will not go bowling.
You would have gotten the smaller room with no porch.
With no porch. But yeah, I invited her to go play pool. And so we're getting ready and stuff. And she's like, but I know she doesn't really like pool because she doesn't. She thinks she sucks. I don't know.
You know it's bad when they count how many balls you make in. Like the whole group is like, it's your second ball of like my 30th round. That's how you know.
But anyway, she expressed to me that she doesn't have a good time because she's not good at it, right? And then she started playing some music in the background while I was getting ready. And I'm like, I think I'm only go for like an hour. So we're not going to be there too long. She's like, and I think in her head, she was probably thinking like an hour. Okay, I'm not going to go. And then she did this on purpose. She started playing some music because I love going out to dance. And when she plays Spanish music, it's just something about it. And then my body just starts moving and I can't help it. So I'm in the bathroom getting ready. And she's like, do you want to go out to dance after? And I'm like, oh, yes, I love dancing, right? And well, actually, at first, I think I said, I don't know, we'll see, right? Because how I'm feeling, whatever.
Yeah.
And then she started playing the music, and I was like, I'm just dancing
in the bathroom when she's getting ready. I'm like,
literally, she creeped up on me. I didn't even realize she was coming to the bathroom. I was just getting ready in the bathroom, dancing in front of the mirror, and then I look over and I just see her head pop out, and she's like, yes, it's working. Like, she had this whole plan. She's like, I'm gonna put music on. She's gonna want to go dance, and we're gonna go dance, and that's exactly what happened.
But it worked out.
But like. Again, she doesn't like the pool, but she's like, well, she likes dancing. I like dancing. We can go dancing instead.
Yeah.
So I celebrated twice. I literally was just going to go play pool and then come back home and call it a night.
Yeah.
I'm a grandma now. But she said dancing and then she started playing the music. And as soon as she played music, dude, I couldn't say no. I was like, well, now we have to go because now I'm itching.
Look at my hips.
Right.
Now I'm itching.
Now I'm itching for it.
Come on, let's go.
That's so funny. And okay, not to like make it all like super deep and stuff, but I do, not to make it all deep or anything, but I think as I've done a lot of research in the last like year or so, and this was also something like I forced on myself because I was going through so much last year. I was learning about like attachment styles, and I think a lot of us have heard about it. Like it's all over the internet right now. But so I've learned that I've identified as fearful avoidant, which means like I am disorganized. Like my attachment style is very disorganized. So I lean both ways as anxious and as avoidant. And I think in social settings, I can be like it's easier for me to be avoidant with friends or like just in social settings in general, because I can cut that off at any time. But in like a very intimate relationship with someone, I can't be avoidant because I have to face like the intimacy of like getting close to someone if I want the relationship, you know? And I think that's also why like I thrive so much better in friendships, because I can do that. I can shut off the intimacy whenever I feel like it. And I don't have to get close to people as like as close to people as you would have to in a relationship.
Right.
And not that it relates to everyone else, but like I know for me, I've realized that I thrive better in a friendship than I do in a relationship because of that reason. And that's where I kind of like started working on myself, was like trying to be better at expressing how I feel. And like when you have those harsh moments of like having to talk about difficult things, boundaries you need to set, and things you don't like about certain dynamics in your relationship with people, I've had to learn how to like be better at it. And I've gotten so much better at it where like I don't need to scream and yell about it anymore. And if I come to you and I tell you exactly how I feel, like it actually means something to me. Like, you know, that actually means like I really took the time and I took the courage to actually say it. And I think that's also like, it gets me very emotional when someone doesn't respect me when I do speak up for myself, because in order for me to do that, it took a lot. It took a lot for me to even get there. So if I come to you respectfully and I tell you how I feel and you just dismiss me or invalidate me, like I should immediately walk away from that in that moment. But I don't always. I'm still working on the walking away from it thing.
Like not every action needs a reaction type of thing.
Yeah, like if someone was to invalidate how I feel because I told them and they're like, I get it. Like it can be overwhelming to someone who isn't ready to take in what I'm telling them. It can definitely be overwhelming. But don't disrespect me about the overwhelmingness, I guess is the word. But if you're overwhelmed, don't disrespect me and just invalidate me straight up and like stonewall me. Like you need to just, I would prefer that you just say, hey, I need a second to like process this.
Right.
But also I can't expect anyone to like meet me at the same emotional intelligence level as me.
Yeah.
It's very hard, but I know I can be very abrasive with my feelings, for sure.
I wonder what my attachment style is. Can we figure that out?
We can. I can actually send you a link on how to figure it out.
Because I feel like I'm the opposite. Like I'm big on emotions too, but I express them. And sometimes I feel like I over-express myself. And
Same.
like you said, it's overwhelming. But I know that, you know, so I've been working on that too, where it's like, okay, don't say too much, because most of the time it's not even that big of a deal, honestly, and I'm just overwhelming someone with my issues when I don't need to.
I can send you the link, because I literally have an entire Google Doc that I share with my friends, with the website, the links to the YouTube videos, and like just everything I've noted over this course of time. Like, because I really, when I say like I put in the work, I was putting in work for months trying to figure all of this out, even before I even started the podcast. Because I was super serious about like getting better for myself, and also like realizing like, yeah, that breakup was like really bad for me, but like it hurt me really bad, but it actually gave me exactly what I needed to like figure out what was going on with me. But I think what your attachment style sounds like is like you're more anxious. Like you're probably a more anxious, like you probably have a more anxious attachment style because you're more upfront about your feelings. I can be sometimes, but it's very rare. And also like it doesn't mean like you're just so antsy to like get your feelings out. It's just that you're very like you want the issue to be resolved right now. You're going to talk about it right now.
Yeah.
Someone like me, when I'm in the moment, like I'm like, whoa, this is too much. Like I don't even want to talk about it. Like,
I have been working on that though, because I did realize that about myself after my breakup.
Yeah.
Because he was like that, where he wouldn't talk about it right away and I would talk about it right away. And in the moment, at that time that I was in the relationship, I didn't see it that way until I left the relationship. And I'm like, well, maybe I could have given him space. Maybe those arguments wouldn't have gotten as heated as they did had I just let him take his space, you know? And a lot of people do need that space. I mean, even me sometimes with certain situations, I'm like, wait, I can't deal with this right now. Like it's too much for me. So I have been practicing kind of just like giving that time to breathe, or sometimes I just don't even say anything anymore.
And the balance of it is really what that's the only thing we can do is learn to balance it. Because I would be that way with my ex. Like he was more anxious about things. Like, and every dynamic is different because you might be one way with one person, but then another person
Right.
you're going to be totally
Yes.
different. And like with him, like he was very anxious. Like he would want to talk about it right away and like address things. And I'm like, dude, like this is too much. I don't even feel like talking to you. And like it would trigger him more. It never justifies the way someone treats you though.
I agree.
But you know, I just wasn't in a place where like I even wanted to talk about it. And
Yeah.
I would be very passive. I'd be passive aggressive. That's the thing that really like set me off, because I noticed that in my relationship with my mom, like she's very passive aggressive about things and doesn't talk about it. And I was like, I hate that about her. I'm sorry, but that's the one thing that would drive me insane. And that's why that space between us happened when we first bought the house. She was very passive aggressive about things, and it made me feel like I was back in that abusive relationship again. And because of that triggering me and then seeing that play out even in my own relationship, I was like, damn, I really got to change that, because I don't want to be like my mom.
Right.
No offense to her.
Well, not that you don't want to be like your mom. You just didn't want
that trait. Yeah, like I didn't want that trait in her, because I was so busy trying to not be like my dad, who was more anxious, and he would scream and yell, and like he would express himself so heavily. Like when he feels some type of way, he was so expressive about it. And I used to be that way when I was younger, and I'm like, then I was like, I would see how my dad is, and I'm like, I gotta change that. And I wanted to so much not be like him that I started to be more like my mom. And then I'm like, damn, now I gotta freaking fix myself entirely. Like I gotta change and figure out how to be someone completely. Like I have to be someone that I've never been and I've never seen in my life. Like it's crazy to have to set those examples for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, I'm not gonna say I don't revert back to doing those things ever again, but I've noticed in the last year, especially in my dating life, like I am so much better at expressing myself, but I'm doing it I'm doing it with the wrong people still, because they're not doing their part and not recognizing where they're falling short. But it doesn't matter, because I can't control them.
Exactly.
You know,
as long as you're putting in your part, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
And if they're not reciprocating it, just cut it.
Exactly. And that's also why, like, I never feel embarrassed when I send even if it looks stupid and, oh, you're going to be laughing about me in your group chat, you're going to send the fucking like, you're going to send a screenshot of me sending you a whole paragraph. But you know what? I kept it real. I kept it real to myself, and I didn't get overly emotional. You may think it's overly emotional, but this is just the honest truth. You know what I mean? Like, this is my truth, and whether you want to respect that or not, that's on you. So I no longer care if people like think it's, oh, like you're going to look like a clown when you're expressing yourself to someone or sending a paragraph to someone.
Yeah, I've always hated that. That's like a pride thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never understood that.
I will don't care. Like if I care enough for you, I let my pride go and I give you what I feel and what I'm thinking, then just know like you really, like that means a lot to me, you know, regardless. So I think also everyone wants to have this like exterior, like the shell of like the ego. Yeah. Like I no longer care to operate in my ego, because what I care more about is having good relationships with my friends and then people
feeling
in my
good.
life. Yes, and
Literally.
feeling good, because I feel much better once I let that out. Because I'm like, damn, bitch, you ate that shit up. You said exactly what you needed to say. But no, like, you know, like people don't. I'm like, then you build up all this tension inside and you become bitter, and I don't want to be that. That's the one thing on my list, is to not be old and bitter.
Yeah, no, seriously, me too. Because I am a little, I don't want to say I have anger issues, but I feel like I'm a short fuse sometimes.
Same.
But I've also been working on that too.
I think it also relates a lot with patience, and we talked a lot about this recently. Like, my patience is just like zero, and especially because...
It might be a Leo thing.
It's probably a Leo thing.
By the way, guys, I'm a Leo.
It's probably a Leo thing, but it's probably also to do with the fact that like for me personally, I know it's because I do so much for myself. Like we were talking about hyper independence. I don't want to say I'm hyper independent, but I can be a lot of the time. Like I don't allow people to help me, but it's because I've had to rely only on myself so much. Even as a kid, I had to learn how to cook my own food at Like, before I could even reach up to the counters, like, you know, I'd be climbing all over the counters trying to make myself food because not that my parents were terrible parents, it's just, and it's not that they neglected me, it's just they were busy working all the time. And I didn't have anyone but my siblings. So I had to learn how to like fend for myself. And
That
so,
makes sense.
you know, like growing up, I always became that person. Like I just stayed that person. So when I'm close to someone, like, and they do something to piss me off, like, I don't have the patience for it because I barely have the patience for myself. You know? So I think learning that patience isn't just having anything to do with the other person. It's mostly with you. Like, are you patient with yourself? Do you give yourself time and grace to make mistakes?
That's true. That is true because that's me. Like, I feel like I don't give myself that grace. Like, I'm always so hard on myself. But I also have noticed, like, the type of friend that I am is I give tough love too. So, like, I'll tell you stuff, even things that you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
But it's because that's how I am with myself. Like, I'm so hard on myself. And I always tell myself certain things kind of like as motivation, I guess. Like, it does work as motivation. I feel like it's still like a negative trait to have. But I don't know. Sometimes it's not negative. I just think it's negative in my case because I am so hard on myself and I don't give myself that grace. I don't celebrate myself. Like, I just recently started to celebrate even like my small wins. But I wasn't always like that. Like, I'm always just hard on myself and I'm like, nope, you can do more, whatever, you know, like, also because I don't have friends like me where they give me tough love and tell me what I need to hear. But also, I think it's because of my lack of patience and I do come off as aggressive. So if you tell me something and I respond, it just sounds like it's just aggressive.
Very abrasive.
Like it almost sounds like I'm being defensive.
Yeah.
Even though I am taking that criticism, just my response to it doesn't allow people to feel comfortable enough to tell me my truths.
Yeah. You know,
at least that's how I see it.
What's crazy is like I'm the opposite. Like, I'm so hard on myself, but I'm so loving to other people. Like, I'm always like, I want to be gentle, like with my friends, and like, you're gonna be okay, you're gonna make it. Like, I'm like that with my friends, but I'm so never like that to myself. And I think it's because I'm trying to, like, I'm a very giving person, I think, and I love giving so much of myself to people, especially obviously while I'm stuck in this house situation. But I'm such a giving person that, like, I'm willing to give, and then leave nothing for myself and make it hard on myself. And so, like, when I see my people, like, struggling, I'm like, oh, I just want to love you. I just want to hug you. I want to, like, you know, I want to be that for them. And I think that's the bad part, is, like, not having the balance of, like, the tough love and the lovingness. Like,
and the soft.
Yeah. And I'm always so willing. Like, I want to be in that soft girl era. Like,
yeah.
I want to be that. But it's, like, it's so hard because, like, when you do something that'll really, like, set me off, like, I'm like, bro, you're, like, my biggest enemy right now. Like, I just want to punch you in your shit. But it's, like, I don't want to express myself that way because, like, I want you to know, like, I care about you. I love you. And the reason I'm bringing up this issue is because I care. Because trust me, there's a lot of people that get the other end of it.
Yeah, I always have to tell my friends that too. Like, and I'm telling you this because I love you and I care about you.
Yeah.
If I wasn't telling you these things, it's because I don't care about you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't waste my time on people. But if I do really, truly care about you and I love you and you're part of my life, I want to see you succeed. I think most people are like that type of friend where they're soft and kind and whatever. And it's good, right? It is good to have. But it's also good to have tough love. So I think that's also why I am the way that I am. Because I'm like, well, all your other friends aren't going to tell you this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to tell you. Because if I don't, who will? And if you're not telling yourself this, somebody needs to tell you this. But that's also how I am with myself. Because I do have soft friends. Not like in a bad way. Because I love it, you know? I love when people are nice to me. But I don't have many friends that just kind of tell me like it is. And sometimes that's what I need. You know? Like, I just need you to tell me to shut up and stop overthinking and whatever. But I don't have that tough love from my friends, so I give it to myself.
Yeah. I am so lucky and so grateful that I have my best friend, because she literally she's that tough love person for me. She's a Taurus. So she's very grounded and she will tell me exactly how the fuck it is and she will make sure I know. But of course she will always encourage me to do whatever, like, I feel like is right, but she will always tell me, like, the truth. And it's funny because today she sent me this song. It's called Sorry. It's in Spanish. It's called Sorry es que soy bipolar. And it completely resonated with the situation that I was in. And I was like, bitch, get the fuck out of here. She's like, you're not the one bipolar. She's like, you're not the one bipolar. But still, it applies to you. And she's like,
soy bipolar.
yes. And she's like, next time we tell you he's a fucking clown, you better believe that shit.
It's not wrong.
But yeah, she's always going to tell me how it is, and I love that. But I take a lot of what she like. I've been taking a lot of her traits and like applying it to me as well, which is what I love. And she's also done a lot of the same. Like, she's not very social. She hates talking to people. She hates people so much. But when we're together, she's making friends left and right. I'm like, girl,
a social butterfly.
Like, I don't even know who you are. And the other day I was talking about doing something super diabolical. And I was like, dude, I want my revenge so bad. And she's like, I love it. She's like, I love it. I was like, I got it from you, bitch. And you're the one teaching me how to be like that. So it's good to have those friends. And yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of people who are very straightforward, but I feel like the people that I've kept closest to me most of my life have been very straightforward people. Like, even my best friend, like, growing up in middle school, like, she was middle school, high school, even into adulthood. She's very abrasive with her approach, but that's just because she loves me. I was always like, I don't want to hear it, like, you know, but I feel like I've started to really recognize that a lot in most of the people that I keep close to me. So I love that. Like, I guess I've always attracted those people and just never really recognized it until now. So, but yeah, we'll definitely, I'm definitely going to send you that link for attachment styles. Also, something that I noted was just like, when I get anxious, it actually triggers me to be more avoidant. Because like, when I'm faced with the situation, like an argument or a situation, I'm like, I'm anxious, and I'm like, ooh, actually, I'm so anxious, I just want to run from the situation. So it's good and bad, I guess, but I started going to these meetings. They're called CODA meetings. It's Codependency Anonymous. And you basically just like AA, like, you just talk about like your codependency issues. It's mostly like older white gentlemen that I've seen at these meetings. And I thought that was crazy. I was like, what if we started bringing that to like our communities, like in the inner city? Because there weren't any other places that were in the inner city. Like, they're all like on the outskirts of town, like Wauwatosa, East Side, and like places that weren't targeting like people of color. And I thought about bringing it to my neighborhood, because there's like a neighborhood center that is close to my old neighborhood. Because it's like, if we learned what codependency actually is in our life, like, that could change so much about us, like, in general, as people that we grow into. So that was something that really changed me. I only went like a few times, really. I stopped being consistent. You can always pick back up whenever you want, but
what made you go in the first place?
When I was doing my research, I heard about it, and I was like, what? Let me try this, because I'm like, clearly I'm codependent. And my codependency was like, I was trying to escape my life at home with like my family and my parents, and like, there's always something going on with my family, like always. And I didn't realize that I was escaping it by getting into relationships, unhealthy relationships with very toxic people, just because it would keep me away from home. And I start to build these unhealthy bonds with these individuals and depend on them for that reason. Even if they weren't contributing in a financial way or whatever fucking way, like, it was just the fact that I was escaping somewhere else to be that wasn't home. So having realized that, I was like, maybe I should go to codependency meetings and see like what I can learn from this. And what I learned is, I don't want to be like them in no offense to them, you know, but I don't want to be middle-aged just realizing that I'm codependent and just starting to fix this issue. And I don't want people that are around me, or like that come from where I come from, I don't want them to have to deal with that either. Like, I want you to be able to figure that out early on, as early as you can, because that will change your life drastically. Like, you can start to be expressively yourself, you know, and it will help with all relationships, not just friendships, not just family, not just like romantic relationships, but even business relationships. Like, it's going to show you how to navigate through the world in general. Because one thing you have, like, that they emphasize on is you cannot control anyone else but yourself.
Yes. And we literally just had this conversation too.
Yes, we literally just had this conversation. So I feel like that was a huge eye opener. Got some material from it, but yeah, like, going to those meetings can.
That's nice. I didn't even know that those existed. I wonder what else is out there. I should get into something.
Yeah, like,
I don't know what, like anger management. I'm just
my therapist also, she never heard of it. And when I brought it up to her, she was like, that's amazing. She's like,
Yeah.
I've never thought of that. But yeah, like, that is something that I plan to do once I can really, like, stabilize my life. Like, I really do want to start bringing those programs to, like, community centers in the inner cities of Milwaukee.
Yeah. For sure.
But because it's an anonymous group, like, you obviously can't advertise for it. You can talk about it in some degree, but you can't talk about what's being said in those groups, obviously. But you can post things up in the community center just to inform people that this is available, and it's on their website as well. But that's really it. Like, you can't.
Like, I wouldn't be able to post it on my Facebook.
I don't think so. I don't think you can be like, hey, come to this CODA meeting. Like, I don't think that that's something you can do, but we can. I'll send you the link, and, like, you can read more into it to see. But you know what? Like, who cares? Like, why should I wait till I'm stable? Like, why don't I just start doing it now? Like, just one more. I mean, I've got a few more things off my plate now, so I can start to focus on what I actually wanted to do, which is to give back to those who don't have as many privileges as I do. So, just another opportunity presenting.
There you go. Love it. I love me some opportunities.
Like, some genuine. Well, I was thinking, like, how we feel, like, in a social setting, like, being. I think I said this to you the other day, like. I don't know what I was doing, but I was out with, I think I was just out with some friends, like, we were just doing something, and I was like, I kind of just feel really alone, even though I'm with people. Because sometimes, like, no offense to, like, my friends, they're in, like, these long-term relationships, and it's, like, they go home, and they have their boo, and they're, like, I'm just, like, damn, you know where I'm going? To fucking work. That's my boo. Or, like,
that's my boo.
That's the best boo you can.
Or it'd be like, they have plans, and I don't. Like, I just live life on the fly. Like, I do whatever I want when the moment arises, and sometimes it can feel a little lonely.
Yeah.
Because it's like, damn, like, y'all got stuff to look forward to. I have to create something to look forward to in order to feel that fulfillment sometimes. Not that I'm not happy, but it's like, damn, like, y'all have things to look forward to when you go home, or, like, when you're not with me, you have things to look forward to. You know what I have to look forward to? Nothing. Or I have to create
children.
It. My children, yes, of course. But
your children. I feel like sometimes, the few times that I have felt alone, I know it was just me overthinking, like, me being overwhelmed with so much that's going on, all these things that I have to do, like with my house, for example, or I don't know, just anything. If it's too much, good or bad, it could be both.
Yeah.
Like, I have a lot of good things happening to me, and then I'll have some bad things happening to me.
Right.
But if it gets, like, too much, then I feel like I am big on emotions, and I express my emotions. But if it's too much like that, I do kind of shut down, and then I do feel alone, but I'm not alone. Like, I know that. I know I'm not. Like, I have my friends, I have my sisters, mainly. Like, I know I can go to my sisters for whatever, and they're always there to support me. But I think when it's just a lot and it's just overwhelming, I just kind of not that I forget about them, but it's just in that moment, I don't think about my support system. I just think of me having all these responsibilities that I have to do.
Yeah.
And then it does feel lonely because it is my responsibility. Nobody's helping me with that. You know, like, it's all on me, even though, like I said before, I do reach out for help. But at the end of the day, I have to do it. Like, it's my responsibility to get it done. However it gets done, with help, with no help, I have to get it done. So I have felt lonely, and actually I felt like that recently. And it's funny because the next day, like I had a day where I just felt completely alone. And the next day my friend texted me and she was like, hey, I had a dream about you. I'm just checking in on you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, that's so crazy because I was feeling down yesterday.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, in my dream, you felt like you were alone. And she's like, I just want you to know that you're not alone. I'm here for whatever, if you need to vent, if you need to cry, if whatever. And honestly, it did give me goosebumps when she told me about her dream. Because I'm like, wow, that's crazy, dude. Because I was feeling alone yesterday. And you just randomly hit me up. Like, you had this dream about me. And that's how I know. I'm like, well, we reached another level of friendship now. Because that just was so random that she said that. And then I took that as, like, the universe telling me to shut up. You know, like, you have people. Like, it was just like, just stop complaining. Like, you have people. You know you do.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a validation.
I think also for me, I'll admit, I've always yearned to have, like, this just one person that just completely understands me and I can be completely myself with. And it's not that I'm not being authentically myself with people, like, because I am. It's like when you grow up with like one best friend, like one very, very close best friend, like me and my best friend were like this all the time. I can talk to her about anything and everything. When I lost that, like I felt like so much more alone. And also she started dating like her now husband, and so that distanced a lot of us in our relationship. And like it was so bad, like we literally argued about it all the time. Like that's how I know she was literally like my soulmate.
Like argued about her spending more time with him, or
I felt like he was like replacing me because I would always be at everything, like all the family functions, all that stuff. Like that was me all the time. And like now I can't even sleep over as much as I used to. Like, man, like I used to be so hurt about that. Like we used to argue so badly. And I hated him when they first started dating. Like I used to hate him. Like I did not like him. I'm like, you're stealing my best friend. Like, what the fuck? And
that's so funny.
It was so bad. Like, it took me years to finally, like, come around to actually getting along with him.
Years after them dating or marriage?
Years of them dating. Yeah. Because at the wedding, I was crying my eyes out because I'm like, I can't believe we made it here. Like,
not we.
But like it was just nuts to me. Like I've always had that best friend, you know, and when we fell off, it was absolutely my fault. Like I shouldn't have pushed her away the way that I did. Once we fell off, like from then I never really had like a consistent person that I could lean on in that way. And so I feel like I might have been yearning for that for a long time.
Yeah.
And then I would like fall into these again relationships, because as we got older, obviously like when we turned like 18, her and her boyfriend, like, you know, they moved in and like they did their own thing together. So I'm like, well, now I'm alone, so maybe I need to find me a partner too. So like there I go, escaping again. And it was like a continuous cycle, and I used to just yearn to have this understanding with just one person that I know will always be there. But obviously I worked through it in therapy, and like I've learned to accept that you don't need that one person. Like you are a multifaceted person. Like you have so many layers to you, and there's going to be people that relate to you in each of those layers. You don't need someone to understand every part of you, because the fulfilling part is that you have enough people that understand you in each part.
Yeah.
And it's hard to grasp that, and to like, I still get those moments, you know, like I said, I still get those moments where I feel alone, and I'm like, but it's okay. Like that's just the life that's just who I am. I'm not someone that is like, sometimes I question whether I want to just be simple and just be basic and just be cookie cutter like everyone else, and not have all these different things that I love and am interested in. Because wouldn't my life be so much more blissful if I didn't care about all those other things and enjoy half the things that I enjoy?
If you didn't enjoy them, maybe. But because you enjoy them, I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I feel like you wouldn't be you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's literally everything like me and my best friend talk about now. Like I'm like, bitch, like if I was just a basic bitch, like wouldn't it just be easier? Because then people would understand me better, and maybe I could actually find someone, like I could actually find a person that would actually be able to love every part of me.
Nah. forget
like
about
that. Yeah, I feel like that would be you settling, and
Yes.
Sabrina and like cookie cutter in the same sentence just doesn't. It just doesn't make sense.
it doesn't matter.
And I appreciate that because I've had to learn to like be better with myself on that. Like I get so hard on myself, like
Yes, you do.
because it's tough.
Yeah.
Because it feels really lonely to be the way that I am. But I guess no, I know I wouldn't change it for anything. I know I wouldn't change it for anything because it
I
would
feel
just
like
be
your
so
life.
boring.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like your life is exciting. You have like you're thinking over here like that. Your friends have so much to look forward to when they go home or whatever. But like you have a lot going for yourself that makes you excited. You know, all these different talents that you have because that's what they are. You know, the talent. But that, like she said, that's what makes you you. And without that, what would you do? You'd be bored out of your mind,
Right.
And you'd really feel alone. I think.
And I don't think you would be happy.
That's true.
Not at all.
Definitely wouldn't. And I guess, you know, me trying to like live more in that and just like accepting of that, like I want to be able to inspire other people to do the same. Like, there's so many people out here that are so talented in so many different things, but they're not willing to tap into it.
I agree. Yep. And even if no one reaches out to you, just know that people are seeing you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they do get inspired.
I really hope so. I know it takes a lot for people to like step up and like say something. But I feel like I've learned at least, especially as I do more episodes with like my friends, it becomes a very like, this is exactly what I envisioned for my podcast. So it's like to make it a vulnerable space for people to openly express themselves and talk about things. And like even the last episode, my friend Bella freaking crying on the episode, like that was totally shocking to me. Like I didn't know she would be that comfortable with me to feel like she can just cry and like talk about something so vulnerable to her. But being able to create that space is like that's all I wanted.
And that's inspiring.
I appreciate it. Like I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, and I think you do inspire people in different ways because you
Yeah.
inspired her in that sense, you know, emotionally.
Yeah.
But I also, me personally, you inspire me to take risks because you're a risk taker. And I am so scared to, like, as badass as I say that I am, like, I'm so scared to take risks. I'm scared of change. Even though it's, like, it's constant, it's inevitable,
Yeah.
you know, can't help it. But me making that change, like, I'm always so hesitant to do it.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's going to turn out fine, whatever, you know, once I actually get through that hump,
Yeah.
it's, like, smooth sailing.
Yeah.
But I'm so scared, and you just make it seem so easy. Like, you're just like, well, I want to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can do that too. You know?
I think when I do that as well, like, I think, and I appreciate it. I'm glad that, like, it does inspire you to do that. I think where that comes from for me is, like, I look back at, like, the last even 9 years of my life, like, because my 20s have been so impactful on me. I look back at these 9 years in my 20s and I look at how far I've come and like everything I've overcome and persevered through. Like, you know, those were some of the biggest heartbreaks of my life. Like going through watching my dad, you know, be sick and watching him pass away like in my arms, and to also be getting abused at the same time. And like I said in my last episode, like in my birthday episode, how I opened up about like my termination of my pregnancy and how that situation even happened, gun pointed to my head, you know, like I'm like, I persevered through all of that. So what am I scared of? Like, I literally have lived through some of the worst things. Like, I lost my grandma already. My mom and I literally, it was almost like I lost my mom for a while. Like, when we first bought the house, like, we had such a rift in our relationship that my heart was breaking. Like, I cried for weeks because my heart broke, realizing I've surpassed her in a lot of ways. I looked up to her as literally I idolized her as the woman that I want to be. I want to be this like strong, independent woman that can carry her family. But then I realized like her doing that has turned her into someone very spiteful and bitter. And I didn't want to be that way. And that broke my heart because I'm like, who am I supposed to look up to now? Who am I supposed to go to for guidance now? I'm like, I went through all of that. So why am I'm not going to be afraid of anything anymore. Like the most intimate people the closest people to me have hurt me so badly. If I go out in this world, like going to freaking New York City was like by myself yeah, people were freaking scared for me. And it was around the time where like that guy was punching random women on the streets.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, and they're like, "You're not freaking scared." I'm like, I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm not scared, but I've literally got my ass beat by someone that was so intimate to me. What the hell am I gonna be afraid of? Like,
Girl.
come on. He's like a 250-pound linebacker looking ass dude. Like, why am I gonna be scared? Like, I was like, I might go out there and I might get hurt. I might even die. But you know what? I went and I took the risk. And like, I decided I'm gonna live my life. Because everyone close to me, like a lot of people close to me have hurt me in the worst of ways. So why wouldn't I be able to get through what a stranger could do to me?
What else? Yeah.
So that was kind of my thing. But I know that that's still like such an extreme way of thinking. So like, don't take that like as the way you should think. But just know that's kind of how my thought
that's what
process.
helps you.
Yeah, that's what helps me make my choices sometimes when I know it's something scary that I'm about to face. Yeah, that got a little dark, but also a little funny. I like to laugh about my traumas, but
I think laughter is the best cure.
It is.
Because what can you do, really? You know?
It happened. I can't go back and change my history.
And you already cried about it, so now we're just going to laugh.
Exactly. I'm just going to laugh about it.
And it also didn't make you bitter, or I can't think of another word, but I don't know. I don't think it brought you down. Like, it didn't change who you are and who you're meant to be.
To the core, yeah. Because I mean, I still face a lot of things where like I still act in my fear, especially in very intimate moments, of course. When I start to feel like I need to respond in a more like, because of my PTSD, like I start to feel like I need to respond in that way instead of a more secure way of managing a situation. Yeah, I still have those moments for sure, but I think that it's made me more fearless. So I definitely, not that I could have definitely done without the abuse, but you know, it happened. But shit, it made me who I am. So here we are.
That's actually beautiful to see too, that those situations literally, they, like you said, they didn't make you bitter. They made you better. You like learn from it, and it's beautiful to see that didn't put you in a shell and hide you from the world. You're like, I'm still gonna shine. Yeah. I'm still gonna be who I am. I'm still gonna be out here. I'm still gonna live my life. Yeah. That's not gonna make me.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like loving people in general. Like, I thought I would be so closed off from like wanting to love anyone ever. Friends, romantic relationships, family. Like, I did not feel like I would ever be able to open my heart again. But then I had to remember, like, who the fuck are you? You're someone who loves people. So you can't change that because of someone who
can't
was
appreciate
hurt.
that.
Yeah. I can't change that about myself. That's just who I am. And to let him win and destroy me in that way would destroy me even more to know that, you know? So it's, yeah. So other topics. So
anyways. So if you didn't get anything out of that, one thing you guys should all understand or take out of this conversation: don't be bitter, be better.
Yeah, don't be bitter, be better, and remember who you are to the core.
Yes,
you may not
stay true to yourself.
Yeah, you may not be a very loving person, and that's okay too. You don't have to open yourself up to people all the time. That's fine, but that's just what makes me happy. That's what brings me joy.
Yeah, me too. I feel like I'm an open book, and I literally can have a deep conversation with anyone, like even someone that I just met, which is crazy to think about, right? Because a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, no, why are they in my business? Which is true, right? Like, why are you sharing so much? I don't know. I feel like it's kind of also like, I love who I am and I want to share me with people. Maybe it might be an obsession that I have with myself, but
no, that's so perfectly worded, is that I'm so in love with myself, and I love myself so much that I want to share it with the world. Because I think that was something that I was saying to my best friend. I'm like, because I keep telling her, like, you know, I just can't wait to find my person, because like I just have so much love to give right now, because I've been loving myself so much. I've been just holding it all in here. Like, I was like,
cute aggression,
my little cuteness aggression. And that's why I'm like, you know, it sucks, because I could really love someone right now, but I'm like, man, all y'all ain't shit. Like, I don't got time to be wasting my love on you guys. But at the same time, I don't take any of the love I gave you back, you know? You deserve it. You actually need it.
Right.
Probably more than me.
Say need.
Like, you need that more than me. You may not deserve it, actually, but you do need it.
Well, I think everyone deserves love.
Just not from me.
Get it from your mama.
Fair. That's valid.
And, you know, I used to be afraid that, like, when I would share these experiences about, like, the things that I've put up with and the things I've been through in the past, like, I would be afraid that someone would try to play me and, like, they would try to take advantage of the fact that I've accepted those things in the past. Mm. But that's not the case, bro. Like, that just means I will definitely not tolerate your shit.
This is a warning.
This is a warning.
Here's a warning.
I'm letting you know I know what's up. So, another topic, and absolutely don't feel like you have to talk about this, but, you know, I always wondered, like, what's the most annoying thing, like, people point out about your life? Like, being single, almost in our 30s, and, like, still just living life for you and not, like, really in the mindset of, like, trying to settle down anytime soon. Like, not that if it presents itself, like, you're not willing to, it's just that you also feel like you have so many ambitions that you want to achieve, that you want to do.
That's not one of my priorities.
Yeah.
At the moment. I have a work friend who is constantly trying to hook me up with anyone, really, like his friends or whatever. And I've told him before, like, why do you want to push someone on me so bad? Like, do I seem lonely to you or something? And he's like, no, I just want you to be happy. And I'm like, but I am happy. Yeah. Like, I don't need to be with someone to be happy. Like, so I really don't understand what he sees. Because I don't know. I don't think that I give those vibes where I feel like I'm alone or like I want or need a relationship. He's just, I think because his friends and he himself, he's married. And then the people around him are all coupled up and stuff. Yeah. And they are happy together. They do seem happy together and you can tell, right? But I'm also happy. I don't need someone by my side. And I even told him, I'm like, it's not that I don't want a relationship. It's just, I don't know, it's just not a priority for me at this moment. Like, if it comes, you know? Yeah. And also, there is like that saying that love comes to you when you least expect it to. Mm-hmm. So I'm just doing my thing, focusing on me. If someone does want to hook me up with someone, though, I won't say no. You know what I mean? Like, but you have to know this person and you have to put in a good word for this person so that I know that we're on the same page, especially if you're like a close friend of mine. Yeah. You know how I am. You know what I'm looking for. Don't just throw anyone at me. Like, make sure you know that person too. Yeah. So that you know that at least we're somewhat compatible. Yeah. And I think also, it's also very hard to, like, I don't know, there's just not a lot of decent people out here in general. Yeah. Well, sometimes I say that too, but then I'm a homebody, you know what I mean? And so sometimes I think about it that way too, where it's like, well, what if there are decent men, you know, men that I could potentially be compatible with, but they're also homebodies and we're just not meeting each other because we're at home. That's true. I think with me not being a homebody, although I love being home, I absolutely do, but I also am just, I like going out and doing stuff, even just alone. Mm-hmm. I just like to be out there in the world and just like finding new stuff and like trying new things. That's just how I am right now, at least. I feel like even as I've met new people, like I don't really meet a lot of... Okay, so I think it's obvious that I have a very niche, like, taste in men in general. They don't always have to check off every single thing on the list, but I have a very niche taste in men and, like, it's hard for me to find someone interesting in general. I don't want to always be the one that's the interesting one that brings things to the table and, like, spices things up. And so it's just easier for me to just be closed off to the idea of anything romantic, you know? And my friends also are very, like, they're very good with their boundaries, like with my boundaries of, like, not hooking me up with people. Because because they know. They know I need a bum ass. Not the bum. Please stop. We're ending this podcast. I don't know if I'm going to keep that in. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to keep that in.
Delete. I'm not with you. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think my friends are scared of hooking me up with anyone because of that too. Some of my friends think I'm too picky, but I don't think I'm too picky.
You're not too picky. They just settle. No, I'm saying.
I mean, you said it. I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. Your friends don't want to hook you up because they say you're too picky?
I have some friends that think I'm too picky, but so I've only been in one legit exclusive relationship, and I think because after being with that person, because I swore I was going to spend the rest of my life with this person, after our breakup, I realized that I don't ever want to settle, because that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Essentially, I was settling. And so now I think I pick up on red flags so quickly. It could be the smallest thing, like it's not small though.
Yeah.
But like if I go on a date with you and you drop me off at home and you just drive off before I get inside my house.
Oh, hell
That's
no.
a big red flag, because why aren't you waiting for me to get inside the house? And not even just in relationships, like you don't wait for your friends to go inside. Like that's a safety thing.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just like certain things like that. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want it anymore. And then I really lose interest. Like that's how fast I lose interest now.
Sorry.
Which is crazy. Like I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, or I don't know. It's just certain things like that where I don't want to teach a grown man
how to treat me right.
How to just be a decent human being.
Yes. And I've realized this about myself too, because I am the same way about those things, but then I also play the game. And it's bad. Like,
oh, you're toxic.
I am toxic. I am toxic because I'll even bring a real life situation into it. Like, there was someone I was dating, and they were not like, when I would come over, they would not like meet me at the door sometimes. And I'm like, damn, the least you could do is meet me at the fucking door.
No, seriously.
And that's why I'm like, you know what? Not that I'm playing him or that I was playing him, but it was just more, it's not that I was playing him or like playing the game, but it's just like, okay, if you want to treat me like that, then I will treat you just as such. You know what I mean? Like, I will just, you're not going to get all of me. You can't even come and meet me downstairs. Like, you can't even open the door for me is crazy. Not, I'm leaving the door open. Are you crazy? Like, I might have been treated like shit in the past in relationships, but I've also been treated well in my relationships too. Mm-hmm. Like, I've dated decent guys that will always make sure I get to the car, always make sure that they're waiting for me at the door to open the door for me. Like, there's never, like, just because I talk mostly about, like, the bad shit I've been through doesn't mean I've been through all that, you know?
Yeah. Spot for us to stop here and actually continue with a part 2 of this episode with my amazing guests, Jesusita and Anonymous. So I'm gonna catch y'all on the next episode 2 weeks from now. So tune in for the rest of it.
So don't forget, it's me, Sab,
and Jesusita,
and Anonymous.
Anonymous executive producer.
It's another episode of Suffering of Silence. You'll find me on TikTok and Instagram at Suffering of Silence Pod, and we're on all streaming platforms. Video episodes are up on YouTube. And don't forget to like, comment, and
subscribe.